Any good stories from the road?
Pipe up.
I wish we'd gotten to see a little bit more out of our punter.
I'm starting to puke.
It makes my stomach hurt.
I thought he was going to die.
I'm starting to throw up in my mouth a little bit.
He's on the probiotics.
Is Georgia playing the 1985 Bears this weekend or what?
A lot of Todd talk.
Rat poison proof.
They're mongoose.
We will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. I can promise you that. The hunting that we do will be done from us going the other direction.
Well, guys, it did my heart a lot of joy to see that when we were in the pre-show green room here that we already had 15 comments, and 9 of them are from Tennessee, man. I'm Wes Blankenship. Palmer Toms and Jake Rowe are here. And, guys, we learned a couple things about the Dogs in the draft. We know who got invited to the NFL Combine, and we know when Georgia's pro day will be. You guys already ready to start talking about the NFL draft and all these dogs that are going to go?
Might as well be. It's coming.
Yeah, we don't have much of a choice. It's going to happen either way. So get yourselves ready.
What's that coming down the track? NFL draft.
What's that coming down the track? 12 dogs at the combine.
Yeah, Palmer, do you have that list in front of you already fired up and ready to go?
He's got it in that round noggin of his.
Yeah.
Let's see how many you can name without looking at the list.
Okay, hands off. Stetson Bennett, Kenny McIntosh, Kyrus Jackson, Darnell Washington, Broderick Jones, Warren McClendon, Jalen Carter, Robert Beal, Nolan Smith, Christopher Smith, Keely Ringo, Jack Podlesny.
Whoa, we got him.
Good Lord.
Jake, I saw you counting over there too.
Oh, I was counting with my hands. Yeah, hands probably. I have a hard time. Like I'm coordination, hand, mouth, all this stuff. I was probably mouthing it at the same time.
What do we think about what's going to be the deal with Nolan Smith at the combine? Is he going to be ready to go?
I'm not sure about that. Maybe not the bench, but I'm sure. I feel like he'll probably do just about anything else. He may not quite be ready for the bench press, but I can't think of anything else that may restrict him. I think that's probably it. I think he'll probably do all the agility stuff. Obviously, a lot of interview stuff, which doesn't help you as much if you're not a quarterback. But Nolan Smith's going to kill it in the interview process for sure. Folks are going to love that guy.
Palmer, you can weigh in here. I'm having some issues with my headphones. Y'all are going to carry it for a second. Jake Roos is in here too, so maybe he can help.
Jake, we're talking combine. 12 guys going there.
No, I thought the list was huge for Georgia. Probably a couple names that I don't know that I expected. I was actually really encouraged to see Kyrus make the list.
And Robert Beal.
Yeah, and Beal, sure. Kyrus, I thought though was great, and I think that shows some real interest in the NFL's part, that they want to see him there and in that setting. Like I said, I don't know that I would necessarily predicted that one straight off the cuff, but great for Georgia, and I think that he's a kid who can go and perhaps even surprise a lot of people. Maybe show his skills as a specialist, punt returner and that kind of thing. So. Overall, I think if you're Kirby Smart, you got to be pretty happy with how it played out overall.
Well, and with Kyrus, he's going to test well in terms of the actual tests, the exams that they do. He was a 4.0 student.
Yeah.
So he's going to interview.
Also very much the strongest wideout.
Yeah.
Like pound for pound.
Yeah, I mean, just among the wideouts, just period. I mean, as far as I know, he's a freak show in the weight room. And you wonder, Georgia loved him on that kickoff return game, right? We never really got to see him stretch it out. They never did really get it blocked for him all that great. I mean, Kirby talks. You've heard Kirby talk about having a guy that was kind of fearless and had the speed to hit it. I wonder if maybe they saw some stuff on GPS that made them think that Kyrus was maybe their game breaker type guy on kickoff return and. We might see a little bit of a crazy 40 out there for him. I do know this. He got behind some defenses in his time at Georgia. Didn't necessarily always turn into big plays. Some of them were underthrown, but he's got a little speed to him. I think Kyrus will test well.
I do too. And I got to tell you that I'm most excited for Darnell Washington and Keely Ringo just to see what they can do, man. I think that they can put up some real freak numbers. I think you might get some jaw dropping stuff out of those two guys.
I would love to see Kieras go and make a lot of money in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. Be a number one receiver for crying out loud. But it would also kind of warm my heart to see Kieras go be a Matthew Slater or a Drew Tasker. Do you guys ever know who Drew Tasker was?
I don't know what that means.
No, I thought you were talking about
I know
Saved by the Bell
Steve
for a second.
Tasker. I know Steve Tasker.
It's not Drew. Yeah, Steve Tasker. I'm an idiot.
I know Steve Tasker. Yeah, from
Steve
Buffalo.
Just one of those ace special teamers, like 25 tackles a year. All of them were on punt coverage. Matthew Slater, who played for the Patriots, is another guy that was kind of just a perennial Pro Bowl guy. All he did was play special teams, and it wasn't necessarily returning stuff.
Yeah, there was another guy for the Patriots like that a couple of years ago. Pat Bethel, maybe.
I don't know. Dominic Osgood, you remember him for the Chargers? He was
absolutely, yeah.
Kareem Osgood, man. I'm bad with first names.
I think it's Kareem, but yeah, no, for sure. And listen, I think that it. Like I said, I think it's exciting for Georgia to put that number of guys into the combine, and I'll tell you this: they're going to. I think Kieras could really, like you said, surprise some people. I think what's really going to come across really well with him, and this goes back to Chad Campbell and Peach County, man. Those Peach County dudes are different. They're built different, man. They're tough cats down there, and that guy was running a very, very tight ship at Peach County.
Is he still the coach down there?
He's not. He stepped down and is now coaching somewhere in Perry, one of the private schools in Perry. Somebody else pretty highly thought of got the job. The name escapes me right now, but Campbell just recently stepped down from that program.
How about Peach County having the 8 p.m. kickoffs? Did y'all ever cover any games down there? I'm sure you did, but it's just different down there, man.
I never did cover.
I never covered. The only Peach County game I ever covered was Peach County playing Jackson, and it was Michael Carter versus Tyreek McGee in that game. And boy, that was kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Marquise Westbrook, by the way, stepping up to take the Peach County job. Coach Campbell, dude. You want to talk about a program? That's how they do it down there. Can we go back to the GPS? I know that gets thrown around a lot, but Roe or Roos or Palmer, take us inside what you know about what Kirby's looking at, because that element of the program is something that I don't know if it happened while he was there, that technology became available, or if he brought it with him and Coach Richt wasn't using it as much. But we hear a lot more about it now with Smart at the helm. What are they looking at? How does it work?
Kirby ramped it up for sure. They were using it before that, but Kirby has definitely ramped it up. I think it's also become a little bit more affordable. There some competition kind of entered the market there. Well, Kirby and those guys are tracking kind of how much distance, how the distance and the speeds, right? So, they try to find trends and they kind of run data, I think, through different analytic software type stuff to kind of sort out, well, after a kid runs, 2.8 miles total in a practice, throughout the whole thing, his likelihood of sustaining an injury goes up, or, they'll monitor the whole team. And if the whole team kind of goes down a certain amount over the course of preseason camp, maybe they give them a light day or a recovery day inside and a shorter practice. That's what they're looking at. And then obviously I don't know. Kirby has said they don't share them with pro scouts. I've heard they do. I don't really care. But those pro scouts really value the readings if they can get a hold to them, because the 40 is kind of a measurement. It's never going to stop doing it because of what it means, I think, to the combine and to the NFL, to the sport. It's an event in and of itself. But the 40 is like, hey, how fast can you start? And you've got guys who just train it nonstop, right? And that's just not a true measure of speed. What is a true measure of speed is, what are your top end speeds for practice, for games? How fast did you go with those shoulder pads on, with a ball in your hand? All of those sorts of things. And the pros love seeing what you can get up to as far as top end speed goes.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can kind of use it like a pitch count sort of thing, right? I mean, you can, like a guy who's going through the recovery process, you can say, all right, he's hit a maximum for a day or something like that.
They don't wear them in games, do they? Are they allowed to wear them in games?
I I've always thought they did. I mean, I know in the NFL they do.
I don't know. I mean,
I've heard Kirby make comments before about games when he was talking about this GPS stuff and just like context clues. It sounded like he was getting data from them in the game, but I'm
all I know is there used to be like a little box that went into something, and then it became the little sports bra looking thing. Before long, man, it's gonna be like a Band-Aid. Like you just pull something off of a sticky tab and stick it on a dude. Maybe.
We're gonna be able to plug into the back of your head and download all the data when it's like the Matrix.
West set a suppository.
Might slow you down a little bit. However they measure it,
you're going to have to raise the athletic trainer salaries if they're going with the support. Like the guy who they're going to draw straws for the O-line that week.
Hey, instead of Chris Jones and his combine experience, he'll say, "Oh man, my GPS came out."
Whatever they're using to measure them, they're running fast. They're hitting hard, and they're going to have a lot of guys watching them at Georgia's Pro Day, which we just learned is March 16th. Is that correct?
15th.
Should have had that pulled up.
It's the Wednesday. It's it's the 15th. It's the Wednesday after it's the Wednesday right after they start spring practice.
Anytime they can control it, that's when it's going to be.
I like that, Palmer. It's the Wednesday.
It's that Wednesday.
It's that Wednesday.
The Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Now, Georgia is always going to have it. You can set your clock by when spring practice is going to start or when pro day is going to start, whichever one you find out first. Because if you find out pro day first, you know spring practice is starting the day before, and if you know spring practice first, then you know pro day starting the next day.
And really, I mean, at least every year I've been on this beat, they have started spring practice the Tuesday after UGA spring break gets back, and then it's you can track it 5 Saturdays ahead of that. That's going to be G Day. You know that Wednesday is right after the start of spring practice is going to be pro day. So
this is we're sports writers planning you Georgia's.
Well, listen to that seasoned veteran Palmer Toms. All these years I've been on this beat.
All 5 of them.
That's a lie. It wasn't that way every year. 2020 was an exception, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to be facts. You got to get your facts straight, Palmer.
Palmer was down there living it up, getting ready to go to the Players Championship.
That's right.
Were you at the Players Championship when they called him off?
No, I was supposed to go the next day, the day after they canceled it, shut it down. So
save it for Bark After Dark, man.
Oh man, we're going to get into that one in Bark After Dark, or maybe some tears.
The Palmer episode is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I want to hear about Palmer's origin story. Who was the coach that chewed Palmer out that made him want to be an upstanding journalist, an investigative journalist, launched his whole career?
All I remember, listen, worst take I've ever had. This should be on Freezing Cold Takes if I'd have tweeted. Worst take I've ever had, because I do think Palmer's awesome. Somebody came to me and they said, "Hey, you got this kid. He's coming to Georgia."
By the way, Jake didn't tell me this until this
he
year.
Wants to help out. Do you want him to come be your intern? I was like, not really. I didn't want to teach somebody how to use the system and how to do this and how to do that. But posted his stories for him, edited and posted them, and finally got tired of editing and posting them. And I was like, all right, Palmer, you're on your own. And he took to it like a
shoved him out of the nest.
A duck to water. So
that's good. That's a good one. All right, guys. Well, in all your years on the beat, you've seen some guys benefit a lot from the pro day, benefit from the combine, and guys make different choices about what they're going to do, the workouts they're going to do. Notably, last year, before he was even, participating, he was eligible for the NFL. But when Stetson Bennett had an opportunity to participate in pro day, he didn't throw. He didn't do the Senior Bowl. He got arrested. All that stuff.
So
what did you expect him to do at the pro day, at combine? Because he's got to show something, right?
They're going to dangle him in on a wire like Sting from the NWO. Just bring him
in the rafters.
He's going to come, like HBK coming into WrestleMania on the zip line with the with the bejeweled chaps on.
Palmer's probably got something everybody wants to listen to here.
No. So if I remember that correctly, I don't remember him having a say in whether he was going to throw or not. I remember
Carson Beck threw.
Carson Beck threw, but it's because George Pickens needed somebody to throw to him, and George asked Carson, is what I remember George telling us.
Wow, so we've got another chapter in the Stetson Bennett bulletin board material montage for his film.
Yeah.
George Pickens walks up to Carson Beck. Stetson Bennett's just standing there shining his cleats.
This guy's
Carson,
ass,
can I
my
talk
dude.
to you for a second?
No, but so I saw this on 3 from our desk. According to a report from Sports Business Journal, Bennett has signed with reps from Chris Cabot, the firm's CEO, Chris Cabot.
Steinberg.
Yes, Steinberg Sports. And according to Cabot, Bennett will participate and throw at the NFL Combine.
Are we breaking news here? Is this breaking news?
No. That's that was an article from our Andrew Graham of the On 3 desk from 6 hours ago.
Okay. Well, it's breaking as far as I know because the entire internet's been shut down today. So
yeah, that's true.
That's been tough. No, and this is where this is where the acceleration of putting everything behind Stetson comes into play, because that pro day and that the NFL Combine are going to be right there together, and you're hoping that Stetson kind of gets everything lined up, and gets where he needs to go, gets everything kind of meshing in his head, simpatico, all that stuff, and then with that little 2-week stretch, puts all of it behind him and kind of starts trending towards the draft, and maybe finds himself possibly being selected on the second day. But there's so much time between what he went through, or what he, the decisions he made to not participate in Senior Bowl, whatever. And the more I think about it, the more I agree with Jim Nagy on that. I mean, I just, for a quarterback, you're not risking a ton of injury. Maybe he should have went there. Maybe he would have, kind of avoided some other things. But ultimately, it happened early enough. It's like losing a college football game week 1. You can get back in it, and I think Stetson will.
Yeah, I think he will too. I think that's a great comparison, losing a football game in week 1. I mean, out of sight, out of mind. I think the angle that it's going to crush him in the draft is way overblown. I think Nagy was right about what Stetson missed out on, but trying to draw too much from it just looks a little bit silly, especially when this whole process does last so long. I will say something that was notable to me with Stetson signing was looking at the other clients that are represented by this agency. And you look at the quarterback list, it's Taylor Heineke, it's Spencer Rattler, it's Tua Tagovailoa, it's Patrick Mahomes. So there's a wide gap there in the talent represented, and it's just interesting to me. You think that maybe there's a caliber of athlete, Stetson's just going to be a backup guy, and he'll probably have some lower tier agent. But no, there's Patrick Mahomes. So make of that what you will. Stetson's getting some respect in the agency world.
Guys, we need Tennessee man to speak up. The Vols just lost to Vanderbilt in basketball.
Why does everyone say what to me?
Tennessee man,
who do you think you are? I am.
Listen. It's interesting, Jake. You say that about the first losing a game week 1. To some degree, isn't this like fitting? Maybe I'm not saying that like anybody wants anybody to get in trouble, legal trouble, etc. But Stetson Bennett running into some adversity ahead of a big moment like this, right? That's kind of been the Stetson story all along. He's overcome this stuff time and time again. And I'm not saying he needed a fire lit under his ass, but it probably can't hurt. And he's a guy who's responded to stuff like this time and time again throughout his career. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a blemish on your record, sure, but does it refocus him and get him, kind of in the mindset that he needs to be where, he's not going out and he's not, he's taking care of business all as it relates to on the field. And, I think what I'm going to be most interested about is to hear the reactions from interviews that Stetson Bennett gives, to executives. I think that, does the swagger of Stetson Bennett come through this, almost villainous person that people have like thought of him as since he left? Is that the person that comes through, or do you get the kid who, a lot of people knew back in the day? And, I think he's got a fine line to toe, I guess, in that regard. And I'll be interested to see what the reactions are to how Stetson interviews for the NFL. Because I think he'll do a really fine job. And I think he'll come off at very worst authentic.
Listen, man, Stetson's a little long in the tooth. I'm more worried about Stetson, like, next couple of years, man. You're not going to be able to be out till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. You're going to blink your eyes. Next thing you know, that's going to ruin a week for you. That's going to ruin, you're just going to take you 4 or 5 days to come back from that.
You too, Palmer. Listen up.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, it's like that Dave Attell joke, man, about working in a fast food restaurant. 10 years can fly by quick.
No question.
Yep. One day you're drinking Jaeger for breakfast. The next you smell tequila and you need a couple Advil.
That's right. No doubt.
Breaking Tea. I don't really have a segue there. Breaking Tea.
They've got Stetson Bennett merch.
Oh, there is?
We got to get Palmer to do that read again. Breaking Tea. You want it?
All right, Palmer, give us your Breaking Tea.
You need it.
No. I don't have it in me tonight.
He just said, Palmer goes, all right, let me get my West on. You want it? You need it. Breaking Tea.
You want it? You need it.
You need a Georgia shirt.
You need a new T-shirt. Get your Breaking Tea.
You need a new Georgia T-shirt. Head on over to Breaking Tea.
Quality. It's quality.
It is quality. It's made of the finest Peruvian silk.
I think we may be getting into false advertisement.
Now we're getting sued for libel again.
No, actually, it's super soft, durable tees and hoodies, designed and printed in the USA.
Probably made out of cotton.
There you go.
I mean, Jake, you've got them in your house. Tell us.
I've said it over and over again. Very quality. Very quality.
It's quality stuff.
Carolyn Toms has a couple of them. She's a fan of the North Carolina merch that they've got.
Oh, they got
also
UNC
a fan of
stuff
posting on DawgsHQ.
We've got some wrestling fans in our comments. I swear to God.
Y'all take that to Bark After Dark, okay? Take some notes on what you want to talk about. Take it to Bark After Dark, BAD.
We can do a wrestling episode one day. I promise you, we can do a Bark After Dark on wrestling.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Y'all can have like a special.
We got to get Goldberg.
We could probably spend a month on wrestling if we needed to. I could go through a few eras.
The show looked nice the other night, guys. Roos, I realized you were in a different spot though.
Yes,
noticed that.
Good call. Yeah, very observant of you, Wesley.
Yeah.
I was at my girlfriend's house.
The microwave was not there.
I was at my girlfriend's house, so I really appreciated Jake Rowe asking me if I was ever going to get married. That was nice.
That was a good one.
We need to get somebody in the comments to name themselves Jake Roos's microwave.
My favorite comment probably ever on this show was the guy who said, "Only damn good dogs have white over the stove microwaves."
Bark After Dark every Monday at 9 p.m. All right, guys. This hit will not go away. This Bullard on Marvin Harrison Jr. And today we had an instance where someone apparently was selling an autographed photo of the hit with a signature on it that said "Night Night." Now, I've since read that whoever was peddling this photo actually doesn't have the rights to the photo.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's going to get you in some trouble. That's a bad look. I don't necessarily have a problem with the "Night Night" signature. I think that's something that football players would probably say to each other's faces because they're competitive. But the whole NIL aspect of it, not doing it above board, probably not going to win too many people over.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's Javon's fault if a guy just got him to sign it. But I don't know. There's a lot of bad looks here, right? There's a bad look for stealing a photo. There's a bad look because Sam Block and the Ohio State guy and all of his IQ points just cried about it on Twitter like it was just a travesty. Guys, it was a clean freaking hit. I mean, Ryan Day and everybody from Ohio State needs to quit whining about it. I mean, you know, if you cover Ohio State, stop pissing and moaning. Grow the hell up. Let's move on. It was every official that's seen it has said it's a clean hit. But I mean, I don't think it's a very classy move to write night on it.
No, it's not.
It's a bit tasteless. It's a bit of bad judgment. I think that given the controversy that surrounded it, whether or not it was, you know, I mean, I of course also I think it was a clean hit. Everybody has said it's a clean hit, but there's no reason really to continue to poke that bear. And
if that's what he actually said, we don't have any confirmation that he signed it that way.
Sure.
We don't know. We don't know that
afterward. I mean, I don't know, but if he did it, I mean, you know, if he did it and that was my son, I would say, dude, you shouldn't have done that. That's poor judgment.
I agree completely. I think that it's just an unnecessary look. I mean, you know, the problem is it's going to end up dragging this thing out further and further and further. The more stuff like this happens, and it's going to become this thing that follows Javon Bullard around. And I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst thing. Absolutely not. But is it, you know, is it the thing you want to hang your whole hat on? You know, people, I think it's overshadowed that the guy was defensive MVP of that game in the national championship versus that hit. And so,
what did he do in that game, though, in the Peach Bowl to deserve defensive MVP? He had a sack, right?
Mm-hmm. He had a sack. I think he had a pass breakup.
We were sitting in the press box there.
I mean, who else on defense earned it that night? Though?
I mean, that's
it's almost like by default.
CFL in there.
That's kind of where I was like, I didn't know who was going to win it. I didn't really.
To some degree, it felt like he might have won it for that.
That's kind of where I'm coming from.
I mean, a little bit.
But nobody would ever cop to that, right? I mean, nobody would ever say, well, he intentionally injured the other teams, or even unintentionally injured the other team's best
I'm gonna
player.
tell you what. Gary Stoken's gonna go on a media tour, unlike you've ever seen before at some point, and it may slip out. He may have been. We gave him that thing because he knocked him out.
Hey,
you know?
Gary Stoken's in front of a lot of cameras and microphones from November until January 1st, so you never know.
Come on, Bark After Dark.
Just standing over him like Chris Tucker and Friday.
We can have Gary Stoken.
Oh, Gary Stoken will come on. I could probably get him on right now. I could probably call him
co-host Bark
in his
After
pajamas. I don't know. I had quite a few concussions in my high school playing days, and I know the whole look on concussions right now is very serious, and it should be. We don't know if Bullard signed it that way, though, and we don't know if he signed it knowing that it was going to be sold. I mean, there's so many what ifs on that just suck. It seemed like Harrison Jr. took it well, though, from his tweet. I mean, of course, he's going to acknowledge it, but he said, night, night, ha ha, bet. Like, I don't know. I don't know how upset he is about it.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to make more money than Javon Bullard, ultimately. Javon Bullard's a fine football player, but
Marvin Harrison Jr. could be a top 15 pick this year.
Yeah, and you know, he's a premium position guy now, you know, and Javon Bullard's kind of a tweener, may play safety, he's not going to play nickel in the NFL. Probably going to have to play safety in the NFL. So, I mean, ultimately, it's a nothing burger for me, just from the aspect of, the guy got hurt. He got hurt on a clean hit, but he got hurt and probably shouldn't write night on there. And I'm not sold on Javon Bullard actually doing that, because whenever I spoke with Javon Bullard before the Ohio State game, I asked him, I said, hey, man, listen, everybody's talking about this Ohio State offense and the two great receivers. And, you know, do you guys take any disrespect for that? Are you tired of hearing it? And he says, no, I'm not tired of hearing it. They're that good. They are really good. So it seemed like there was some class and respect on the front end. I'd be surprised if there wasn't on the back end. But if it was, you know, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to suspend him. but Javon can do better.
I'm just trying to make you talk about this for as long as I can.
I bet.
God,
Listen, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you who I guarantee you was not happy about it was Kirby Smart.
Do you guys know what a Kubaton is?
Kubaton,
you know
it's
what-
like
Yeah,
a Pokemon, right?
that was that fighting tournament in Bloodsport.
No, a Kubaton is that thing that Danny McBride has in Righteous Gemstones, where he's like he gives them all to him and it's like here's our weapon. And, yeah. It's one of those things that people put on their keychains. Like I'd put one of those in the neck of
like a Tamagotchi.
To me and started talking about this. I'm just I'm so tired of talking about this hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't go away though. And I guess I take a lot of what we talk about from seeing people talk on Twitter. And it's like I said last time we met, these online rivalries between Georgia fans and other schools, like this Ohio State Georgia thing, is still very much happening. Like it has not ended, and I'm somewhat fascinated by it.
Yeah, I think we're just kind of getting to a point here. Ohio State's a little bitter. The national championship tally since Justin Fields left Georgia from Ohio State for Ohio State is two for Georgia, none for Ohio State, and I think they're just a little sour about that.
Yeah, probably so.
Gave them a quarterback and they couldn't win a title.
Here is one thing I saw on the internet today that I do like.
That's badass.
That's sick work.
Yeah.
Steve Butcher, somebody like I'm getting on the horn if I need a tattoo. I'm calling Steve Butcher wherever you are. That's outrageous.
I'm gonna get that detail right there. I'm gonna get him to tattoo my face on my face.
Get your eyes on your eyelids so you can sleep through things.
Sleep in the Zoom meeting. I DM'd this guy Austin Cooper, and I was gonna try to get him on the night so he could show it to us and talk about it. He might still come on Sunday. We'll see. If not, I might kick him to the Bark After Dark ranks. We'll see about that.
Bring him on.
But he,
about
I
Steve?
DM'd him. I said, what does it feel like? Does it still hurt? And he said, it doesn't hurt that bad. And he also told me that it took 18 hours over 2 days
I would
in
believe
California to get it done.
I'm gonna guess if you're getting a tattoo like that, he's got more than just one. This isn't his first tattoo.
Yeah.
Butcher, I read his website. He tattoos in a style that's called hyperrealism.
Yeah, well,
And-
he nailed it.
I mean, it looks like a screen printed like cake from Publix. Like it is.
Yeah, you don't need a legend to figure out what hyperrealism is. You don't need a dictionary.
Yeah.
That's hyperrealistic. It's
Yeah.
pretty self-explanatory.
It's hyper, dude. It is a hype tattoo.
It's probably the greatest Georgia tattoo I've ever seen personally. Now, I don't know that I'm not one for getting things like that. I mean, I don't have any tattoos. I guess I should. Does anybody here? I'm curious.
Yeah. Between the four of us, do we have one tattoo?
I'm not tatted up. I talked about getting one last year when the Braves, Georgia, and my high school all won championships. I was trying to figure out how to incorporate all three, but now that there's been a back-to-back, I don't. What if there's a three-peat on top of my original Trinity? I don't know. So I'm still thinking about that, but that was the closest I ever came to getting one. Palmer, you're awfully quiet over there.
Palmer's got his family insignia tattooed on.
Palmer has one on his scalp.
No
They give you-
tattoos here.
They brand you at Montgomery Bell.
like Yellowstone.
part of the initiation.
But that made me wonder what do y'all think is the most tattoo worthy Georgia moment in like Georgia history that could be encapsulated the easiest on a tattoo other than what we just saw with Keely Ringo's pick six there?
Any damn one you want from Mr. Butcher there, because he can. I mean, he's up to the task.
For me, this was an easy answer. If you were going to get a tattoo of a super cool moment, I think the best one would be George Pickens slamming that Georgia Tech player's head into the wall. I think that both of mine actually were George Pickens ideas. George Pickens doing that, or George Pickens with the water bottle pissing on the guy from
Roos is going to two moments that are detrimental to the University of Georgia. Both of them hurt
make them like
way more than they helped.
Two of the best moments that I can ever remember watching for Georgia. It's so funny. So classic, like George Pickens, but to me, the Georgia helmet throwing the Georgia Tech guy into the wall like it's an in your house pay-per-view, no holds barred, falls count anywhere match was stellar, man. It was a great one.
That was incredible.
It was.
And to me, it showed a lot of discipline, because anytime guys get in a fist fight in football, you see someone swing at the helmet, and that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
So Pickens was like, oh, screw that. I'm just going to throw him into the bricks.
What is the nearest weapon I can find? It is this wall, and I'm going to use it to my advantage. And, I caught so much shit on
Trace
Twitter.
Willing, right? That's
it was Trace Willing. It was Trace Willing. I was actually very close to where that happened. It spilled out right. I was shooting in that end zone.
Good one.
And
Herschel over Bates. That's a good one.
I was thinking that one.
But yeah, it was. I got a lot of crap on that on Twitter, because I posted it and I was like, a reminder of the greatest moment in Georgia football history, and people were just giving me all kinds of shit about it. But it was so funny to me.
There are two memories that stick out for me, and neither one of them are huge moments in Georgia history either. But they're two of the coolest photos I've ever seen taken about Georgia football. One is the Dan Inman double headlock of the LSU players. I don't know if you ever seen that one, Wes?
No.
Oh my God, dude. He's got one guy, he's got his face mask like pushed up, like he's about to snap the kid's head backwards, and he's got another dude in a headlock on field goal protection.
Who is this?
Dan Inman. It's a
okay.
it was in Sports
Oh
Illustrated.
yeah. I do remember that photo.
If you're talking Georgia against LSU, Jalen Carter holding up.
Yes, that's a good one. You're right.
Solid.
My other one was Boss Bailey. Any one of those 2002 field goal blocks that he got
up there.
You can see his feet over the helmets almost of the players. They actually had to bring a rule in to prevent that. Is now you can't leave your feet and come down on there's a Boss Bailey rule, all because of him. So I would it would probably be one of those.
Give me Jordan Davis and his plunge into the end zone, his graceful plunge into the end zone. That would be a good one.
I'll tell you another great one. Serious. If I'm talking a serious one, Kirby and Dooley facing each other. That photo. That would be
or the Dooley Jordan Davis photo that I geeked out over here recently.
Yeah, the Braves. Yeah. The Braves jersey.
I don't know, man. That gives me kind of misty-eyed right there. That's just like, two wildly different, people and generations and levels of experience at a Braves game. I mean, that looks like two happy sons of guns right there, man. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I was just thinking that when Tyler Brennan put it in the comments, AJ Green's catch fitting with the news of his retirement.
Yep. Yeah, true.
The only juxtaposition you've got there is that Georgia lost that ball game.
Yeah, that would be tough to get a tattoo of a loss.
And I mean, you could put AD's catch, but I know a lot of people don't want that tattooed on them anymore.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I wonder how many people already got the AD tattoo, and then they're
there's got to be one of those.
Really get off of that. The Ringo pick did really. Georgia scored 2 touchdowns after that, or that would probably be a bigger deal than it is.
What about Terry Godwin's catch against Notre Dame?
Great one. Almost got kicked off.
That's kind of
filming that thing. Just the ball came right at me.
NBC threatened to throw me off the sidelines because I tweeted out a video of that.
To me, that's right there. The kind of the start of Georgia getting to where it's at right now.
Yeah, if he doesn't make that catch, then Georgia doesn't go to the playoff. I mean, that was a huge play, man. You're right. I always have the image of Massaquoi and the blackout when he just kind of like shrugs when he catches that bomb from Stafford. That was a pretty sweet moment.
You could get the Uga by going after the Auburn player.
Oh yeah, no doubt. What about Evo going after Uga? That'd be a pretty sweet collage, like the circle of Uga.
Ducati Tech over here with a moment that never happened, but would be fun. Just a tattoo of Mark Richt punching Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, a little bit more conceptual.
Hey, listen, Mark Richt did punch Steve Spurrier one time. It was back in 2015. It wasn't physically, but it was. He got him. He broke the head ball coach that day, because I'll never forget. I went downstairs, and you know where they do the coaches, the opposing coaches press conference at the bottom of the elevators. I got off the elevator, and Spurrier was just sitting down, and the curtain was up, and he goes, "Man, wait a minute. They had 5 third downs all game. That can't be right." And they did. That's how bad Georgia dominated them. They didn't get the third down but 5 times in the whole ball game. And Spurrier was just like, that can't be right. Like, it was just, that man was, he retired. Was it the next week? Did he retire the very next week, or did he coach one more game?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was
that was the Fatone Bowda game.
I thought
no. That was the South Carolina game. He was at South Carolina.
Oh, you're saying okay. I see what you mean. I was thinking Georgia, Florida.
No.
I had
Carolina,
when we were talking about this, I was envisioning Mark Richt punching Steve Spurrier
in a Florida uniform.
And his visor falling off.
That
like
was
those old Cal.
The
you remember Cal Warlick that would draw all those like mall UGA photos? It'd be like a caricature of Larry Munson. That would be the guy. Rest in peace. That would be the guy to do the tattoo.
I got a couple more that I thought of. Sony in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. That no one had mentioned that.
Yeah, and personal favorite being from Tennessee, Eric Stokes with the sack on I think it was Brian Maurer. The fumble.
Yeah, that was painful.
Absolutely killed him.
How about
I was going to say that you mentioned the Phaeton Bowda start. That would qualify as worst moments in Georgia history to get tattooed on your body.
Yeah,
that was the end of the Mark Richt era when that happened.
Just get Fatone Bowda's name and jersey number on your back.
Yeah, I would also say the final score of the UCF Liberty Bowl would be one of the worst things you could possibly get tattooed on you.
I mean, Devontae Smith, that'd be pretty bad.
Yeah. Second 26.
09 Independence Bowl. Just great moments. Some pretty good moments.
We're going to stop
Wes, I just dropped a link to that Dan Emmon photo if we want to show people.
Where is it?
Yeah, I haven't seen this before.
Chat. It's the actual image from the magazine.
Oh, it just came through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Pollock,
now that you mentioned it. I
that
didn't
Pollock
hear you
touchdown. The Pollock touchdown is interesting. My brother was getting married that day. I want to say it was like September the 7th of 2002, and there was a lightning delay in that game. Basically, like, we thought we were going to be in and out of the service, and missed like the first 5-10 minutes of the game or whatever. But the service was a lot longer than we thought it was going to be, and we missed. I was actually in the wedding, obviously, and we missed most of that one, most of the first half of that game, including the Pollock thing. So, but yeah, Dan Emmons kind of having his way with some LSU Tigers in that.
O2 had some good moments, man. You got Pollock, you got the Michael Johnson catch, just the SEC championship. Some really good moments that have now been overshadowed by even better ones in Georgia.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest one that nobody talks about anymore is the 52-7. I believe, what was it, 52-7 over Georgia Tech that year? Yeah,
it was. JT Wall had a screen.
Yeah,
his neck roll.
Yeah,
neck pad was rumbling into the end zone.
That's there were a couple of years later, maybe it was the next year, Georgia Tech came in and played baseball at Foley Field. And they delayed first pitch. They're supposed to be 6:00, and they started the game. Time of first pitch 6:08, and the reason they say that because 52-7. It was 52-7 until 7. So.
It's pretty good, pretty clever. It's a Chopping Wood Wednesday, guys. Palmer, I want to start with you because I know what your topic is already, and I think some pretty interesting things came of it.
Yeah. So I am chopping wood about yesterday's Georgia Athletics Association Board of Directors meeting. Attended that. It's some interesting conversation. I actually, and this may surprise Jake, and he's probably going to be glad to hear this. I do enjoy going to those because I enjoy hearing about. You can see Jake in the bottom part of my screen here, giving a little fist pump. I do enjoy hearing about the updates within the athletic program. Maybe after I go to more than 3 or 4, it'll wear upon me. But yesterday's meeting, Josh Brooks shared updates. The whole board shared updates. Georgia finished with the highest GPA for a fall semester in terms of overall athletics, 3.22 there. Fundraising, they had a record-setting fundraising year. The Athletic Association did last year, and they are currently on track to beat that again this year for 2022-23.
Print money.
Yeah. And then the biggest news to me is always the facility stuff when there is facility stuff. Foley Field undergoing some renovations. That's already been known. There were some photos that were shown of that, though, some initial design stuff. And Stegman Coliseum, home of the Hoop Hounds, going to, for men's basketball starting next season, is going to have some seating arrangement changes. They're going to add a section onto the student section, putting them past half court behind the TV announcers on the sideline. They're going to be closer to the court, all with the goal in mind of creating a better home court atmosphere and advantage and experience for everyone, fans, students, student athletes. They're flipping where the benches are. Georgia's opponents will now, what that does is it creates the Georgia opponent shooting into the student section in the second half. Georgia, Mike White was very involved in all this, wrote a little bit about that. You can go check out what he had to say after last night's game about the changes, what Josh Brooks had to say. But in my mind, very important changes that are being made to take the basketball program and Stegman Coliseum in the right direction.
Yeah, the Foley Field mock-ups look awesome.
Yeah, they really do. I can share those with you if you want to share them on here, Wes.
Yeah, I've heard that they've already done a lot of work at Sanford too, expanding the concourses, opening those up. So you'll start to see some of those differences.
I'm not sure, Palmer. Did they mention that? Or do we get another year in the press box at the 50? Or are they moving us to the corner?
One more year.
Good times. Enjoy it while you can before it's Auburn.
And it's going to be limited seating for G-Day this year. South stands are going to be closed because of the renovations, similar to what it was for the championship celebration. Wes, I just sent you a rendition of the Foley Field plus the new Stegman seating.
Firing it up now.
Am I wrong in thinking that Stegman could be really cool if they treated it right?
I mean, I think Stegman's pretty cool as it is. It's just it's not all that big. I mean, listen, if you've ever driven by Rupp Arena, I've done it one time. Palmer was in the car with me. I've never seen anything like that on a college campus. I mean, it literally looks like you're driving through downtown LA. It's Rupp live. So you're not ever going to have anything like that. But Stegman is fine.
Delta Club.
Yeah.
So that's going to be right down the left field line, like you can see there. They'll have indoor pitching facilities, hitting facilities. It looks like some new concessions, and it's going to create a new entrance on that street. Blanking on what the name of that street is, but
what are these people
I can't remember the name of it either.
It's not Carlton Street.
No, Carlton runs in front of Stegman.
Is it Smith Street?
Maybe. Who knows?
that street. That Wednesday.
Palmer, fire up a Google map for us.
I'm doing it. That street, that Wednesday.
I bet Claude Felton knows what the name of that street is.
I guarantee you he does.
So
But and Josh has said this, it doesn't change much about the actual Foley experience for the fans, but what it does is it's a student athlete focused renovation to try and make Georgia more competitive with the rest of the SEC, where Mississippi State has poured in millions and millions and millions already. Georgia has not done that in terms of the actual the amenities for the student athletes.
That is Rutherford.
I found Rutherford.
Yeah.
I found Palmer, guys.
That might actually be me. That's kind of where my seat has been in the past.
One of 6 people in the press box.
The nose is a little long.
Yeah. I mean, your best bet is to assume that that's Anthony Dasher.
It's Palm Dash.
Oh, it's definitely Dasher.
Yeah, and Antonio Antoine Anthony Dasher covered a lot of
That
Georgia
man
baseball games.
loves Georgia baseball.
He does. He loves. He just loves baseball, man. That's one thing I love about Dash is that man is a baseball purist. He plays in a fantasy league that is like American League only, draft in person.
Listen, I knew of Dash to take one day off when Georgia was actually participating, and it was for his fantasy baseball draft. He would, if Georgia football was going on, he was on, man. But if the fantasy baseball draft was on, that was the one day he ever
spring practice. One
Good
day
dude,
during
man.
spring
Salt of
practice.
the earth. Love that guy.
He is a great guy. He is great. I'll chop wood about something I wrote about today. I saw the returning production list from Bill Connolly at ESPN's been going around, and I've seen some Mizzou fans, some Kentucky fans, Tennessee fans feel confident based on that ranking because they finished higher than Georgia in the returning production metric. And I added those things up. It's a premium piece over at DawgsHQ.com. Great news if you're a subscriber. Great opportunity to try out our promo deal if you aren't. But if you take Tennessee out, every team that finished ahead of Georgia in the SEC anyway, in the returning production metric, if you add up all those wins and losses, that team is below 500. So it doesn't really tell you everything you think it does. Just because you have a lot of production coming back, like A&M has the most, it doesn't mean you're good. Sometimes you just have bad production coming back. I do think it could be a good sign for Tennessee, though, with the Vols getting the Dogs in Athens, but still seems to me like there's a wide gap between those two programs, even though people want to say it's going to be a huge rivalry. I'm just not seeing it yet. But Chopping, what about that? Returning production rankings don't always tell you the full story because Georgia missed out on a lot of returning production last year on the defensive side of the ball, and they won back-to-back national championships.
Is anyone else surprised that A&M has returning production considering everyone entering the transfer portal?
Yeah, no doubt.
They got someone coming back. They got somebody.
Yeah, they got Anaya Smith coming back. That the quarterback, the one that ended the year. They got some dudes.
Connor Wegman, is that?
Yeah, they got some good players. They got 5 techs out the wazoo. I mean, they got 5 techs for days.
Yes.
Georgia would probably love for one of those guys to enter the portal so it could pick one up. Lebus Overton, LT Overton.
The one kid from Arizona did.
Yeah, and I can't remember. I don't know where he went.
I don't know where he landed, but yeah,
he did commit somewhere though. I did see that.
Yeah. What was it? Justin, I think was his name, if I'm not mistaken.
Timberlake.
Yeah, Timberlake. Yeah, I think that was it. All right, Rolex still deep in thought. He's still coming up with his. I think.
No, so. I've got mine. I was going to chop wood on Jennifer Connelly since we were talking about Bill Connelly.
Okay,
Jennifer Connelly in that Top Gun movie. I mean, fine wine, brother.
Fine wine indeed.
Now, I'm going to chop wood tonight about talking to a lot of 2024, 2025, and 2026 kids. I've done a lot of that over the last couple of days, and we'll have a bunch of updates coming over at DawgsHQ. So get over there and check those out because those will be premium stories. But the refrain is similar amongst them all. A lot of kids are shocked. They're surprised. They are really just taken aback by an offer from Georgia. I spoke to Marcus Downs, who's an emerging name out of Taylor, South Carolina, just outside of Greenville. And he told me he got chills when he was offered by the Bulldogs. He said, I was kind of an under the radar guy. Georgia offered me and it just gave me chills. And it's similar stuff like that kind of all the time. And it's not even specific to a position. I've talked to a couple of wide receivers who are saying, look, that whole room is full of dogs, man. Those guys know what they have to do. They take care of their business. They handle it. The message is clear. And Georgia currently sits as the number one class in 2024. Georgia has a very real chance to be the number one overall class in 2024. But like I said, the refrains are the same, and the message to these kids is clear. You're hearing the same things, or you're starting to hear those same things because of Georgia's sustained success, not only over these last 2 years, but under the Kirby Smart era, which these kids have grown up in, that you started to hear about Alabama. It's some of that same talk. So I think that that's really impactful. I think that that's the kind of stuff that pays dividends for years to come. And like I said, a lot of stuff to watch for over at DawgsHQ when it comes to these updates, but really positive returns on this stuff. It's not going unnoticed with recruits, as you might expect.
Was the A&M transfer edge Anthony Lucas?
Yes, it was. I'm sorry. It was not Justin. It was Anthony Lucas, yeah.
Committed to USC.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm going to chop wood on A.J. Green, the retired A.J. Green, and how fortunate I feel to have watched A.J. make that catch at Colorado and do a lot of other stuff. And A.J. Green never won anything in his career. He never won a Super Bowl. He didn't win an SEC title. He didn't win a national title. But I'm here to tell you that as somebody who has talked to a lot of people that know A.J. Green, it doesn't work out the way you think it does sometimes, where only champions win championships, because A.J. Green is one. He has given back so much to the University of Georgia. His highlights are everywhere because he was that special. He got robbed of 4 games in his final season at Georgia for something that is as widespread as, I don't know, spending $1 is these days. He was a special player. He was one of the greatest, most talented football players in Georgia history. An injury here, a 4-game suspension there, changed everything. He would have been a 2-time 1,000-yard receiver. A lot of folks don't remember that it was A.J. Green getting dinged up before the We Run This State game that allowed the We Run This State game to take place, because Georgia did not want to throw the football a whole lot because they didn't have him. He played for 3 different quarterbacks at Georgia and was drafted number 4 overall. Georgia's highest ever drafted wide receiver in the NFL draft. And, we can blame it on Andy Dalton. We can blame it on playing for Cincinnati. Do whatever you want. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. He was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Body gave way for him there too, for whatever reason. But A.J. Green is a special, special person, special individual. And one of the best recruiting stories to ever be told was the time when A.J. Green was firmly committed to Georgia, recruited by John Fabris. And he heard Steve Spurrier, South Carolina Gamecocks head coach, was coming to Summerville High School. A.J. Green played hooky and laid home sick, so he didn't have to talk to the old ball coach. I'm not 100% that's true. I'll do like Tommy Lee Jones.
Real to me, damn it.
I'll do it like Tommy Lee Jones in No Country for Old Men, when she called and said, "There was that story you told me true." He goes, "Well, it's true that it was a story," and that's what I'll say about that. But A.J. Green, awesome, damn good dog, great career, and probably pretty sure you're not seeing his face anymore. You're not done seeing his face around the Georgia program. At least as it pertains to having an impact. He's still going to give, and he's still going to be around, and I'm sure Georgia's going to embrace him as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I said on the board the other day, we were talking about him. A lot of people don't realize the lingering impact A.J. Green had on underclassmen, high school recruits when it came to Georgia's wide receiver position. There were not a lot of marquee names that came out after A.J. Green, guys that really stood out in the NFL, and kids consistently pointed to A.J. Green and said, that's a guy that I idolize. That's a guy I want to be like. And he played at the University of Georgia. I think that his impact was very widely felt on the recruiting trail for a long, long time. So kudos to him for that too.
Yeah, it's a shame, man, that, his career at Georgia was as much of a bummer as it was. I'm not saying he individually, but just those Georgia teams didn't have as much success. Guys like him and Stafford, to a certain extent, I don't feel like Georgia fans are as endeared to them. Maybe it's for those reasons, maybe for different reasons. But he was every bit of that recruit in college. He just didn't have the teams that reflected that. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that, Ro. If he is around the program a lot more, that's only a good thing for Georgia.
Andy Stowe, I do want to bring this up. If you haven't seen the high school catch that he's referring to from AJ Green, don't go to bed at night without seeing it. You got a smartphone, you can lay there and, next to your wife or your husband or whoever you're with tonight, mistress, mister, I don't care, and just look it up. Just if you're from Alabama, your sister.
Wake up your kid, right now and go show him the video.
I haven't seen
just
it.
look it up. It's easy.
If you're with your mistress, I'm going to tell you maybe put the phone down. Your kids might be trying to FaceTime you.
So just looking up,
we don't endorse that
high school catch. It'll come up.
Yeah,
a one-handed catch, 34-second clip.
Ro, when you were talking about the fact that he didn't win much at Georgia, he didn't win a championship, he never won anything. My brother, it reminded me of my brother's rec league football career. I believe he played.
Goodness.
I believe he played 2 seasons.
Armadillo.
It was an armadillo.
He never won a single game.
Oh,
he never won a game, and just hung up the cleats after that. Yeah, everybody needs to experience the sweet taste of victory.
I would dare say that anybody who was around for the AJ Green era at Georgia who played fantasy football had him on their fantasy football team at least once over the course of his career.
No doubt.
I just found the video here. Let's see.
Certainly did.
I remember someone said that this was their first recruiting memory, and this is like nostalgia for me, man. I remember watching this.
Oh.
On repeat.
Aaron Self now at Somerville, by the way, Drew.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all go watch this. We'll end the show on that note. AJ Green, DGD, y'all have DGDs in the comments. Hit like and subscribe if you don't already. Thanks for watching the Georgia Show. And head on over to DawgsHQ.com. Give that premium membership a spin. A lot more going on over there this week and as we lead up to the NFL draft. We'll catch you next time we do this. See ya.